Hey guys, it's Will.
And I'm Mike.
Welcome to First Watch, the show that's part review, part reaction. Look what we have with us today. 5 seasons of Charlie's Angels we're not going to talk about.
Seasons.
Yeah, we didn't watch it all. We watched the first 3 episodes, because isn't that usually what people do when they review TV shows? They get provided the first 3 to 4 episodes?
Yeah, something like that. They get
So we figured we would, get like a flavor for it, get to know the characters, the world, and then talk to you about it. So this was just released by Mill Creek, who does like a lot of these. They're doing Mad About You, right?
They're doing Mad About You.
They did the Mindy Show, the whole thing. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. They do like a bunch of like whole releases of TV shows on Blu-ray. So I haven't seen. When we did an unboxing of this, and I talked about how I watched this after the first movie with Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu and Cameron Diaz came out. I went through Charlie's Angels, but that was 20 years ago.
I'd never actually seen the original Charlie's Angels. Like, I'd seen clips and I knew what it was about and all that, but I'd never actually sat down and watched an episode from start to finish of this show. I saw the 2 Charlie's Angels movies. Haven't seen the new one that just came out. And has there been anything else?
I think that's
Charlie's
it.
Angels, I think that's it, right?
Well, no, there's a disc in one of these. They tried to do another show in the 90s and it didn't take, and it was on like a season, and I don't know. Anyway, the point being, here we have the original Charlie's Angels. So this ran from, I think, 77 to 81 or 82, whatever 5 seasons would be.
Something like that, yeah.
82, maybe, yeah. And I loved watching this. I had forgotten basically everything about it. Like, obviously, I knew the setup, but I'd forgotten all the details of all the episodes and everything. The writing on it was especially good to me. Like, each episode is its own self-contained mystery. So it's like if there's like 20 episodes in a season, 24 episodes, it's like 24 movies.
It was surprisingly well crafted. When I first started watching it, I wasn't expecting much because you have that misconception that like, oh, because it was made so long ago, it's gonna be like low quality or whatever. This is like well shot. It's all on location. It's big cast. It's
like
tons of
big action sequences.
Big action sequences.
Yeah.
There's clearly a lot of money involved in this show, in the production of this show. And the acting was good. There's like witty little jokes and one-liners, and like you said, the plot was actually really interesting.
Like the mysteries are really good, and so
it's fun.
The setup of the show, if you're unfamiliar with how this works, is there's the 3 angels were police officers, but because they were women, they were given crappy jobs on the police force. So this guy Charlie runs a private investigator agency, and he hires the 3 of them as a team, and what they do is they investigate cases by going undercover and pretending to be other people, basically. Yeah. And the thing that I think is so genius about this show is that the almost uniform. I think in every episode, because I went ahead. Mike, I think you watched 3.
I watched the first.
I think 3. I watched like 5 or 6 of them. And in every episode, the bad guys are men, and there are like henchmen who are women. Right? Or there's like a co-lead villain in one episode as a woman. But it's almost always men who are taking advantage of women, but also look down on women. So they were able to use the fact that they're women to convince these men that like, oh, they're harmless, they're not threats, they're just like stupid women. Yeah. Like the one where Farrah Fawcett's playing poker with those guys, and like she takes them for all their money, she gets all this information out of them.
I do find it funny though, in each episode you find out like one of the women is one of the angels is really good at something, right? Like in the race car episode, one of them's like a former race car driver. In this one, she's like a poker pro. She can like do fancy shuffling and like. So like,
there's like a close up of her hands as she's doing all these shuffling tricks.
And one is in the same one. I think the 3rd episode. One is like an Olympic level swimmer.
That's in the drug one.
Yeah. So it's like they have like every episode. They're like, oh. You don't know this, but in my backstory, I'm like really good at this thing, and it's gonna help us solve this case. So like, there's a bit of cheese in it, but it's like really fun.
They're police officers, right? But in one of them, and I don't think you watched this one, but there's one where they have to go undercover as models, and so like it just so happens that one of them is really, really good at being a professional model.
But they're also all really beautiful too.
Well, that's one of the whole things about the show, right?
So I guess like the pilot episode, should we go through the episodes?
So the other thing, I'll just mention this, and then we'll talk about each episode. But like one of the things that I thought was really interesting about this is that it's like really seedy I was telling Mike earlier, at one point my wife like walks through the room as I was watching this, like an episode later on that I don't think Mike saw, that's like a women in prison episode that's basically like a 70s exploitation movie. And like they're all forced to shower together, and they're getting like hosed down by this evil woman who works in the prison, and they're like making jokes to her about how no one hoses her down, and like they really go into like sleazy, seedy, like it's obviously influenced by like those types of 70s, like Dirty Harry. Yeah. Was Death Wish in the 70s or was that 1980?
70s. Yeah,
it's like that type of stuff, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So the first episode.
So the first episode,
which is 90 minutes, by the way.
It's like a premiere.
It's a movie basically. Yeah.
And it's basically there's a vineyard, right? And so the old owner died mysteriously, and the daughter disappeared. And so the stepmom or the wife of the old owner, along with the
caretaker
guy, they've taken over, and they're doing something shady and illegal. And the angels are sent in to investigate what actually happened to this guy. But so like one of them pretends that she's the daughter, and then she's found out, but they have a plan for that because like
they did a contingency plan.
So like there's all these things. There's a young Tommy Lee Jones in it for some reason. I was really surprised to see him. Like, why?
He's like their neighbor's friend.
But I guess it makes sense. Like this, if this was like '77, this was probably like right when he was getting going.
Yeah.
So there's like a really long conspiracy, and they play like different characters.
It's also
really
like this
good.
episode is one of the things I really liked about this episode that you see again and again throughout the series. That I was really impressed with is like there's all these double crosses.
There's a lot,
and I'm so accustomed to watching TV shows where there's like one thing and then it's discovered and the episode is resolved. In this, there's like all of these layers to the mysteries. Where like, oh, you think this person's this person, but they're really that person, and then this thing happens. And then
there's a lot.
It's really interesting. So
it was actually really good. It was a really good way to get started, and I actually watched all 3 episodes back to back.
There's also a character in the pilot. Remember the guy who's like Bosley's boss who never comes back?
Woodville?
Who's like always ragging on Bosley? Yeah. So Bosley's the guy who is their contact with Charlie, basically, and Charlie is like just the most ridiculous pimp. He's always in some exotic location with like all these women, and he's like drinking and like
he's living the life basically.
So the second episode is the racing one, right?
Yeah.
So there's a young woman who dies in like a demolition derby, like women's racing, like it's not NASCAR. What do you call that? Just like cheap racetrack, and so she goes to Sabrina, who's the one of the 3 angels here. There's like all these different pictures.
Yeah.
I think Kate Jackson is the name of the one who plays Sabrina. So she, as it turns out, used to be has some training as a race car driver.
She's like
she goes undercover as a new driver to investigate this like rinky-dink like racing operation. It turns out there's all these nefarious criminals involved, and like it's
cool. So there's racing, there's poker. She's a preacher's
daughter.
Plays a preacher's daughter who hustles them at poker, try to get info.
And it's like always talking about the Lord. And
there's
like,
a lot of stuff in
really
there. There's a diamond heist. There's intrigue about getting the diamonds in the race car across Mexico.
So they have to plan like a whole race route that goes from California to Mexico.
It just doesn't work out for them, but it's really cool.
But and then the third episode, as you can see, like there's so much going on in these episodes. So episode 3 is about drugs, and it's there's like a Mexican cartel, right? I don't know, this is maybe like pre-huge cartel era, but it's like there's like a Mexican drug lord, and he has a rival who is appropriately titled Escobar. Right?
and you don't know who he is.
Yeah, so and Escobar is like giving him a hard time, and there's like a plane crash, and then like the brother of a woman who dies in the plane crash hires them to investigate this drug dealer and everything that's going on with his operation, basically. Yeah.
And so they do, and they investigate, and they get involved in like the drug lord's daughter and becoming a swimming coach.
Yeah, so Farrah Fawcett, as it turns out, is like a world champion swimmer. In addition to being a poker player.
It's just funny because
she beats the girl's swimming coach in a race and gets hired as the new.
But it's funny because within like 10 minutes, all 3 of them integrate themselves into this like cartel thing, and it's like so easy, and they just like dismantle it from within.
Well, the one gets the recommendation from his pilot, so that's how they get in with that. And then Farrah Fawcett's the swimmer. How does Sabrina get in?
Sabrina's
I don't even remember
the air.
Oh right, so then how does the third woman get in?
She's just a hot teacher.
Oh, that's right. No,
she gets in because she looks good.
She walks by in a bikini, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just an innocent teacher on vacation."
And that's all it takes. So, and then all 3 of them team up. They dismantle. I did see the twist in that one coming.
Yeah,
like, I knew who Escobar.
Yeah.
Well, I knew from the very beginning. I'm like, that guy's. But whatever, it was still fun. It was still very interesting and exciting. There's like there's stuff in planes. There's
big
boats.
There's a big shootout with the cops and everything.
You don't see a lot of blood, but it's still really really cool.
Yeah,
it's really well done.
That was a really fun episode. So and then I could say because I kept going that I really enjoyed it. So what we're gonna do with this is I don't know if you feel like watching more, but I'm probably gonna watch all of this and come back and I can review each season as like a general overview type thing as we go forward. And then we will include links into the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube to where you can buy this and where you can like watch sample episodes. And like someone actually did a comparison of the original DVD release of Charlie's Angels with the Blu-ray like side by side in frame, so you can see how much better the picture quality is here. So that's pretty cool. We'll include a link to that. But there you go. Yeah, Charlie's Angels. It's awesome. I'm loving it. I'm so glad we got this.
Check it out. Yeah.
I'm Will.
And I'm Mike.
And we will see you next time.